Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Dom, and I'm here with Anthony.
Hey.
This is the A Word, and we are going to talk a little bit about Apple's new iPhone lineup.
Yes.
And, this is, whether or not the phones are a big deal, it's a big deal that there's some new iPhones out there. Whether or not the tech specs or the actual devices are a big deal.
It's a big deal to me.
The simple release, though, we've been waiting a long time for a year for Apple to unveil a new iPhone, and the 5S along with the 5C are here. So we finally have those two phones. They're official. We've known that. Unofficially known that it was going to be called the 5S and the 5C. Unofficial, completely unofficial. That just based off of rumors, though. So now it's finally real. Now the rumors can finally stop, and we have official names, official specs, somewhat specs, and we're gonna go over a little bit about these iPhones today. So that being said, the first thing here is, well, of course, the gold iPhone is real. I'm sure you guys already know that by now if you have seen the keynote stuff yet. The gold iPhone is totally real, and it is obviously on the 5S. You can get a 5S in gold. Apple has completely done away with the black iPhone, and that is because of the scratches, I think. There's no official word on that, but I think Apple did away with that because it was getting scratched up too much, and they replaced it with this new Space Gray, which I think is the stupidest name in the world, but
Space Gray.
Whatever. It is what it is, and it's called Space Gray. And so they have the silver version, the gold version, and then the Space Gray version, which, again, I just think that's the dumbest name in the world, but not my call, obviously. But then we do have the 5C as well, which you can get in green, blue, yellow, pink, or white. And the 5C and the 5S come in at different price points with various storage capacities. And then Apple also left around the 4S. So keep this in mind. We have the 5S, the 5C, and the 4S. There is no more iPhone 5, and they have discontinued that model. So we don't get an iPhone 5 anymore. The 5C, though, is essentially an iPhone 5 in a plastic shell. So if you're looking for an iPhone 5 and you don't care about all of those specs and all the tech specs and stuff with the 5S, you can get the 5C, and you will get essentially an iPhone 5 with a plastic shell. Now, hold on, I'm trying to log into Facebook here. I think that the 5C is really misunderstood, and we'll get to your questions here in a little bit. So let's go ahead and... Sorry, I'm just still trying to log into Facebook. Kind of hard here. Why are you saying I have the incorrect email? I don't. Oh, Facebook. Trying to post it to the Facebook people.
The Facebookers.
Facebookians, I guess. So let's go ahead and hop over to here. And here is a question, actually. Somebody said how much RAM the 5S has, and that has not officially been confirmed, or there's no word on it. I assume that we'll find out how much RAM it has when Apple releases it and iFixit has a chance to tear it down. Then we'll probably know exactly how much RAM it has. So that's kind of up in the air right now. We don't know for sure, but we shall find out soon. Hey, talk in your mic real quick. I just want to make sure the level's good for that.
Yeah, it should be good.
Yeah.
No?
Looks a little quiet.
Yeah.
But there's not much we can do about it.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
I'll just talk a little louder.
Yeah, there you go.
Be like that guy from Dilbert, Loud Howard.
So, yeah, any Dilbert fans out there? So,
yeah.
Okay,
No.
Are you guys getting the 5S, or the 5C, or both? You're not getting anything, right?
Me, if I were to
5?
get one, I would get a 5C because...
Over the 5S?
Yes.
Why?
The colors are awesome. For one, I think Apple did a tremendous job on releasing colors at the right time. or rather waiting for a long time to release colored iPhones. I'm very surprised to see how it's turning out. Everybody likes them. I like them. You like them. I'm sure everybody out there likes them.
Yeah.
And I mean, as far as having one of the first colored iPhones, that'd be cool. You know, I'd rather have a colored iPhone than a regular like space gray.
I disagree with that.
You disagree?
Now, only because I'm a tech guy, obviously. I like the technical aspects of the 5S. That is why I disagree. Just because I like the technical aspects of it. Now, here's a good way to look at the 5C. Now, the 5C I think it's misunderstood. Now, a lot of people were expecting it. The rumors pointed to the 5C being Apple's budget iPhone, right? That's what everybody said. Mind you, these are rumors. Everybody was like, "Oh, it's the budget iPhone. It's a budget iPhone.
It's the cheap iPhone."
Yeah, everybody thought that Apple was going to release this budget iPhone, and it was going to really help them out in emerging markets and stuff. And us too are even guilty of joining in on those rumors, you know, because it does make sense, you know. But I think the 5C is a bit misunderstood, and I have a good way to kind of present that. Hold on, I'm trying to type, join us for our podcast now.
Right this second.
Yes. And I'm posting this to Facebook, guys, in case you didn't know. Okay, so anyway, the 5C, right? You have all these colors and stuff, and it's cute, and it's fun, blah, blah, blah. So here's my point behind this, okay? The 5C, yes, it's an iPhone 5 in a plastic shell. But that plastic shell happens to be colorful and fun. And so let's take, for example, me. I'm a real tech-driven guy. I like the specs and everything involved with the 5S. I think it's cool, 64-bit operating system, blah, probably a lot of RAM. You know, it's a lot faster than the iPhone 5. It's got the fingerprint scanner, all that cool stuff, right? That's all great, and I think it's, Apple did a good job at putting some cool aspects in there and really bumping up the the technology inside of the phone. Yeah, the exterior is not different at all, and that's, you know, whatever, take that for what it is. But the thing is, okay, with the 5C, right? The 5C, I presented these two phones to my wife, and she is not a tech person at all. Like, you know, she just doesn't care about all that stuff. It's not really important to her. So for her, she saw these two phones, and I explained everything that I just told you guys. You know, the 5C is an iPhone 5 in a plastic shell. There's colors, and then I explained all the stuff about the 5S. She would rather have a 5C over a 5S, and there's really one reason behind that. It's colorful. It's fun.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's why she would want one over having a 5S. It has nothing to do with the price point. It has nothing to do with the storage capacity. It's fun and it's colorful. And I think Apple really set out to market to people like her. You know, there's tech people, and then there's other, you know, people that don't care about the specs and stuff. And I think the people that don't care about the specs, and also, you know, some teenagers, you know, people like that, younger people are definitely going to like the 5C because of that aspect.
There's no doubt that the new iPhone 5S is way better than the iPhone C.
iPhone 5C, you mean?
Yes, the iPhone 5C. And there's
Kyle's Tech.
Huh?
Nothing. I was giving a shout out to Kyle's Tech.
There's no doubt that it's so much better. But at the same time, you also have those people that are kind of paranoid, who don't like fingerprints being scanned on their phone. And I'm curious to see, like... Well, I don't think that's really going to make a difference,
Apple
but
said
I'm
it's
curious
not
to see
stored.
about, like, how you guys feel about that, you know?
Yeah.
Out there.
I mean...
You guys... What do you feel about the fingerprint scanning? Is it invading privacy, or is it just plain awesomeness?
Well, it's not invading privacy, though, because you have an option. You don't need to use the fingerprint scanner.
Yeah,
you don't need to.
I know. I know you don't need to.
You have to set it up. And here's some important things to note about that fingerprint scanner, though. And this actually came in from an actual Apple spokesperson. They said that the fingerprint scanner, your fingerprint... Okay, your fingerprints are not stored, but the data from those prints are stored to validate, and they're stored within the A7 chip and they're encrypted. So that data is wiped out every time you either reboot your phone or don't unlock it for 48 hours. So you're going to have to reset up the fingerprints
every 48 hours.
No, only if you don't unlock it.
Yeah.
If you don't unlock your phone for 48 hours, you'll have to reset up the fingerprint thing. And at that point, when you go to unlock it after 48 hours, you'll have to enter in your password. But that's only if you don't unlock it for 48 hours. So keep that in mind. I mean, yeah, that's a long time for not using your phone. Now the other thing, though, is if you reboot it, they say that you're going to have to do that too. So if you reboot your phone a lot, then that's something that you'll have to look forward to or not look forward to.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. And if you don't like that, then maybe the device isn't for you. And it's not really a big deal if you don't like it. Nobody's forcing you to use. You have the option to use the fingerprint scanner. You could just use a passcode.
Your fate is in your hands.
Yeah, you could just use a passcode if you want. You don't have to. That's the beauty of it.
And they still have the two different types of passwords as well.
Yeah, you can use the simple or the complex passcode.
Yeah, so it's all good.
Now, here's for any of you that aren't familiar with it. With the 5S, if you're looking to pick up a 5S, it's going to cost you $199 on contract for a 16 gigabyte model, and then $299 for 32 gigabytes, and $399 for 64 gigabytes. Now, the 5C only comes in two storage capacities, 16 gigabyte for $99 and 32 gigabyte for $199. Now, Apple has kept around the 4S, and that is only in an 8 gigabyte model now, and it's free on contract. A lot of people were complaining, though, about the price point for the 5C and saying that, it's $549, it's so expensive. That's only because you, along with a lot of other people, myself included, bought into the low-budget iPhone rumor. That Apple never said they were creating a budget iPhone. They never once said that. So that's kind of our own fault for actually buying into that rumor there. $549, and a lot of people are like, okay, so the 5C is $549, and if you want to get a 5S off contract, it's $649.
Yeah.
For 16 gigabyte models. Now, a lot of people are like, I would easily pay the extra $100 for the fingerprint scanner and the faster processor and blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. Some people don't care about that, though. Some people would rather save the $100 and get a colorful phone than pay $100 and get all these features.
Yeah.
It's true. As silly as it sounds, there are really people like that would want to do that. And I think that's who Apple's market is.
Well, and at the same time, there's also people like you and me who would want both iPhones of each color, every single phone. That's a little extreme, though. Of course. That's a little extreme, but it would be nice.
Yeah. I mean, also, guys, keep in mind, if you want to see, if you're not looking to pick up one of these right away and you want to see what it's looks like and how it is and stuff, I'll have official hands-on videos coming on Friday. So definitely stay for those. And also, don't stay in this video for those. Wait until Friday. Stay around on the channel and yeah, you can just wait on this channel or this video page right here, or keep listening to this podcast on iTunes until Friday.
Forever.
But okay, so let's check this out here. Lost my train of thought. Sorry. Okay, so
what are we checking?
It was unfortunate. Apple decided not to take pre-orders for the 5S. Mm-hmm. Kind of annoying, if you ask me. The 5C, they did take pre-orders for the 5C, and those happened on this last Friday, actually, on the 13th of September, and they took pre-orders for them, and now there's no way to tell if they had a lot of stock or if it wasn't popular, but if you go to pre-order a 5C today, you can still get it on launch day. If you pre-order a 5C, you'll still be able to get it on September 20th. And like I said, there's no way to tell maybe they were prepared for the orders this time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's going to be the same for the 5S, but They didn't take pre-orders for the 5S, so if you want one, you're going to have to, wait in line or camp out at various stores that are selling them. They're actually going to be available at a lot more places than the Apple Store, though. So if you're looking to go buy a 5S, you have options like Best Buy. You have Walmart, I believe, that's selling them on launch day. You have Radio Shack. You also have all the carrier stores, AT&T, T-Mobile, Sprint, Verizon, and you have the Apple Store, and there's other retailers as well. So don't think you're limited just to the Apple Store, unless you want that Apple Store experience and you want to, you want to walk through those doors at 8 a.m. There are other places that you can go to pick up a 5S.
Yeah.
So if maybe you're doing it later in the day and they're sold out at the Apple Store, hit up Best Buy or your carrier stores or anything like that and try to find one there, because they're definitely going to be available at more than just Apple stores. And a lot of people sometimes forget about that and they think that they just need to go into an Apple store and pick it up that way. So no one wants a 5C unless those are Android people. I disagree with that, I think that, like I said, I think Apple's target market is people that don't care about tech specs. They just want a fun phone that works. Yeah. And that's what the 5C is. It's a fun phone and it just works. Very, very, very ideally Apple. So we have a question here from Stefan Official 96. Why is there no 128 gigabyte iPhone 5S? You know what?
That would be awesome.
I don't know the answer for that, but I would never buy one.
I feel like it would be too expensive.
I mean, it depends. It depends on how much the prices of this flash memory continue to drop. Obviously, it hasn't dropped enough to where Apple can offer it at a decent price point in line with their current pricing structure.
I'm thinking by the next iPhone it will.
You know what I mean? Because basically you'd have to have, they'd have to be able to get it at a $499 price point. $499 for 128 gigabytes is how much they'd have to sell it for. So obviously for on-contract pricing. Obviously they couldn't do that and keep it in line with their current pricing structure, because that's how, like the 4th gen iPad, they have a 128 gigabyte version of that, and it's in line with their pricing structure. So they were able to make that happen in an iPad, and it's probably a lot due to size restrictions of the phone. There are smaller flash memory modules that they can put in there, but they're probably more expensive than the ones that they use in the iPads. So that's more than likely that's why that didn't happen. Let's see here. Yeah, JB Tech 17 would definitely buy a 128 gigabyte iPad or iPhone. But I'm always fine with 16 gigabytes. I never find myself needing more than that. And if I do, then I mean, I guess it's kind of unrelatable, but if I do, I have another device that I could put stuff on. Not everybody does, and I realize that, but 16 gigabytes, even before I had, multiple phones or whatever, it was still just enough to get me by. Yeah, sometimes I'd find myself needing space and I'd have to delete some apps, but most of the time, those apps I deleted is stuff I'd never used and I hadn't used in a while, and I didn't really need it.
Yeah, for me, it's music. I like to have a lot of music, and I feel like there's a lot of people who do.
But then music iTunes Match.
Well, yeah, but also a data, at what expense?
I guess it depends, yeah.
It depends on how much internet you have to use and how much different variety of music that, you want to have. For me, I like to have, just about anything and everything just in case, because I like anything and everything usually. So my phone and my iPad mini are both 16 gigabytes and they're both full. So, I mean, that's just mostly music though.
Yeah. I mean, that is a thing. It's like, it depends what you plan on using your device for,
I definitely should have got the 32 gig.
For me, I don't put music on my phone. I stream music. Mm-hmm. And that's just because of the data plan situation I'm in. Not everybody can do that. So if you're not, then you need music, then you're definitely going to want to buy a bigger capacity iPhone. But at the same time, there are other options. Like, okay, for example, even with iTunes Match, you can download an album or a few albums while you're on Wi-Fi, and play it on your phone while you're gone. And then when you're done with that, you can delete it and download a few more. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Same with Spotify. Spotify, you can save songs offline.
Spotify is really awesome.
Yeah, you can save songs offline for Spotify to listen to them when you're not, when you don't have Wi-Fi, so you're not wasting all of your data. So there are ways to get around this issue with the music and stuff like that. Now, of course, for iPads, I like for this one. This is a Wi-Fi 4th generation iPad. I only have Wi-Fi, so if I want to load this up with movies, I actually ran into this not too long ago when I went on vacation. I put some movies on this so we could watch them in the car, and I could only fit like 3 movies on there, and that was it. And there's no other way to, I can't. It's not like I can reload with movies, when you're in the middle of nowhere. So if you're, for the iPad, I would definitely recommend if you're planning on using an iPad a lot, like the iPad, the 5th generation iPad that's rumored to be released next month. I'd say if you're going to use it for a lot of media, you should definitely go with the 32 or 64 gigabyte iPad. That's a pretty penny to pay though for an iPad. I mean, you're talking like $699, $799 for the 32 or 64 gigabyte iPad.
Yeah,
which is a lot of money.
It definitely makes more sense to get something so you have more space on an iPad than an iPhone, I think, though. But Ethan Gooderman was asking if we think iOS 7 would look the same on the 5C as the 5S, or if it would look different.
Yeah, it's going to look the same.
I would say so myself.
It will. It'll look exactly the same. The thing is, the only difference is... Yeah, color-coded wallpapers. You're going to boot up like a blue 5C, and you'll have like a bluish, matching wallpaper. That's really and you can change out the wallpapers, obviously. Yeah. So that's the only difference you're going to get there. Okay, and from Stefan Official again, he's asking if we think that Apple would quietly post the 120 gigabyte iPad like they did with the 4th generation iPad. They just quietly released a 128 gigabyte version of the 4th generation iPad.
Yeah.
And I don't think they would do. I think they'd want to make a bigger deal about that for an iPhone. Now, the iPad, I think their aim was not directly towards consumers for the 120 gigabyte 4th gen iPad, and I think that with the iPhone, it's going to be a bit different, and I think they may even be saving that as their wow factor, part of the wow factor for the iPhone 6. I don't know, which will be stupid if that's
wow.
one of those big things, but
is that your wow factor?
A lot of people are disappointed in the 5S, and that's simply because, again, Apple has taken the typical route of keeping the same form factor and just upgrading the internals along with that, that home button fingerprint scanner. We have that too. So that's the only really external change. Everything else is completely internal, and you can't really tell a difference unless you have the gold iPhone. Then everybody will know that you have the 5S. A lot of people might not notice the space gray, really, but if you have a gold one, then they'll know. Oh, you have the new gold iPhone. You know what I mean? But here's I
feel like that's almost a status symbol too. Like, yeah, I have a gold iPhone.
Yeah, I don't know. Right. It's not really, because it's the same thing. But okay, the thing is with the iPhone 5S is, while it's not a bunch of external changes, there really is some big advancements internally that not a lot of people really care about. But at the same time, 64 gigabytes is a big, or 64-bit operating system is a big deal, and it's really future-proofing some things to an extent. It's going to add a lot of power to your iOS devices, but the thing is how long is it going to take for developers to catch on to that and really start developing powerful applications for iOS based on the 64-bit operating system? Only time will tell for that. But it is okay. I think of the 5S. It's a lot more powerful than the 5. So if you only have a 4S right now, I'd say definitely get the 5S, unless you're looking for an even bigger change and hold out to the 6. But myself personally, I think it's even a worthy upgrade to go from the 5 to the 5S. Just based on, if you're into tech specs like that, just based on what you're getting.
Yeah,
it's
as
a worthy
far as the
upgrade.
text go or the specs go,
The text.
the text. As far as the text march, yeah, specs are way better. Like I was saying, in the 64-bit, that's going to be around for a while.
I know people are going to give me crap about this, but we just had this question here from Stealthy Potatoes.
Crap.
If you were to get the 5S, which color would you buy? And I'm going to get the 5S, and I'm going to buy the gold version.
I would get the green.
I like the gold version.
Oh, the 5S?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Because the gold, I just like how it looks. I mean, it just has a really nice tone to it. It's not like gaudy and like very flashy gold. It's it's just a very nice gold. And we talked, here's another question. We talked about this earlier, but is there a difference between the 5C and the 5 besides the, whoa, I had like some breathing problem in the middle of that sentence. Is there a difference between the 5C and the 5 besides the plastic shell? And the answer is no. That's it. It's the only difference. So keep that in mind. But one more thing on the 5S, right? A lot of people are disappointed because the form factor is the same. Think about it this way, though. This actually helps out everybody because if you're planning on getting a 5S, all your 5 accessories are going to be compatible with that. The same thing for accessory manufacturers. At this point, it's kind of a given that accessory manufacturers have 2 generations on an iPhone to keep the same mold for their cases and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much given that they have 2 generations to keep that Apple is going to stick with that design. And it really helps that out because if Apple were doing it every year, you know, it's possible that accessory prices could go up because manufacturers have to change their line.
They did
once a
change.
year.
They did change the flash on on the phone.
Yes, that is true.
So,
that is true too. The flash
I'm not
is
sure
a
how
dual
that
flash.
how that takes into consideration with the pricing points of like what the manufacturers have to do, and as far as a new machine or
Some cases
altering
will
that
work.
machine. Yeah.
You know, it depends on how big that opening is. And I guess I'll have to do, you know, that's a good idea for a video, is I'm going to do a test with the 5S and different iPhone 5 cases and see if it really is like the flash is affected or the quality of the pictures because of that opening on the back of the case. If it's not big enough, I think that it's going to cause some bleed into the lens from the flash. I think that that's a possibility, but I guess I'll have to test that out. Yeah, I've seen those companies that turns the iPhone into they re-anodize it or they gold plate it or whatever. I wouldn't recommend any of those really. First of all, it voids your warranty. If anything, it's gonna void your warranty. But let's see here.
CHP Technologies agrees with me about Space Gray, but I actually wasn't talking about Space Gray. I was talking about the green iPhone C. I for some reason heard C instead of S. But yeah, the Space Gray, it's all right. I like the white iPhone to be honest, and
it's clean.
You know, it's just I don't know. I like the single color.
I'm just going with gold because I want something different, and I think the contrast difference on the Space Gray phone is stupid.
Yeah.
Just because it's really
weird.
You know what I mean? It's just got that really black bezel and the really black inlays, and then it's kind of this light dark or this darkish silver color, and I don't prefer that. Not saying that it's not good for other people, but
it's not good for you.
I think that the gold and the white look good, and the silver and the white look good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
I don't know of any way that Apple could have made the Space Gray better, but I just think that with those two, what is this? What color would you get your mom? Seriously speaking. For the 5S, I would probably have to say that she would want a black one.
She would.
But they don't have black. We're brothers, if you guys don't know. She would want a black one, but since they don't have black, then I would say probably the gold.
The gold?
You think? No?
No, I don't think gold.
I don't know. She seemed to like it when I was showing her that video.
Oh, I didn't see her reaction to it.
But I mean, obviously, I don't think she would like that gray.
No, I think that I was gonna say. I don't know what I was gonna say.
And for the 5C though, I don't even know. Like, I mean, maybe pink, but she's not really a pink, like, you know what I mean?
For the 5C,
maybe pink or white.
Yeah, I don't know.
They don't have a turquoise one.
Yeah, they don't.
And only us would know what we're talking about. That
she's very limited on her color options.
Yeah,
it's as far as what she likes. I was looking at the phone, the 5Cs with the cases, and I do like how the green and the black case look together.
Yeah, I got a blue and a black.
Yeah, I like that black case on top of that color. It's really cool.
Yeah, I got a blue 5C and a black case, and I got the 5C dock as well, which unfortunately won't work with the case that they sell. But that's besides the point. Cool. I'll be showing you guys all videos on all that stuff too. Question here real quick from DeHacker559.
Yes.
Are you going to be using the new camera burst mode on the 5S? Well, of course, I will definitely try it out. I can't tell you if I'm going to be using it all the time, but I will definitely try it out, and I'll be sure to make... I'm going to be making a bunch of videos on this. Just tuned in, wanted to be listening to a live Apple discussion for a while. Well, you don't have much very longer. That's a weird way to say that. You don't have very much longer because we are almost about to end this here pretty soon. But I don't know. I want to get your guys' opinion on the 5S 5C debate. First of all, do you think the 5S is a worthy upgrade? And second, do you think that the 5C is priced wrong? Or do you think that Apple has a different market in mind, and it bounces off the whole budget iPhone thing. I don't think that this was supposed to be a budget iPhone. Not anymore, anyways. I did before we saw it.
Yeah, and before the pricing and everything came out.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely give your thoughts on that whole thing there. And, I can't wait until we get to see those coming out on Friday. So, if anybody happens to be in Phoenix and you go to the Biltmore Apple Store, I'll be hanging out there at the Apple Store on Friday. So, not that there's probably going to be a lot of people that will hear that in Phoenix. Kind of slim chances that you'll be here. But if you want, and if you somehow are, then come over there, and I'll probably be sitting in line or something. Yeah. So, I mean, that pretty much wraps it up for our discussion today. I just wanted to kind of get some thoughts out there on the iPhone 5S and the 5C, and really, kind of debate these two for a little bit. I'm looking forward to both devices, and of course, like I said, I'll have hands-on videos and other videos covering the proprietary features for the 5S, like the fingerprint scanner and the burst mode on the camera and the dual LED flash. I'll be covering all that stuff, so stay tuned for those videos. I really appreciate you guys sticking around to watch those later on this week. That's really cool. And also, subscribe to this podcast on iTunes. We're on iTunes. In case you don't want to watch the live video version, you can get a recorded version later on in the day. And be sure to rate the podcast, because that really does help us out a lot and lets us know that you enjoy what's going on. Let us know if we suck, if we're good, if we're bad. Anything goes. Go to iTunes and search Mac Mixing, or go to the podcast app and search Mac Mixing. You can find us there. And subscribe to the channel, too. You can subscribe to this YouTube channel right here to see more podcasts like this. I hopefully promise you that next week I'll be able to show you some screen stuff as we're talking about things. I've been working on putting together a new setup for this whole video thing, so hopefully we'll be able to get that going here pretty soon. So thanks again for watching, everybody. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate it. I'm sure he really appreciates it.
I really do.
He really does.
Believe you?
Him. No, I don't.
You don't appreciate it. You kind of appreciate it. I really appreciate it. And you guys, I hope, appreciate it.
Yes, we love you. We love you for being here. So we will catch you guys over around here next week. And next week we are going to announce an official time when this podcast will start. We're going to be doing it a little bit earlier, though. So stay tuned next week, and I'll be sure to, tip you guys throughout the week to let you know when that's going to happen. Stay tuned, and we will have an official time for this live show, because it's kind of been random lately because we just started it and I've been trying to get things in order and ready and just right for you guys. So thanks again. We will catch everybody next week. Thank you to everybody listening on iTunes. Thank you to everybody watching on YouTube. And thank you for everybody that's listening to this on MacMixing.com. Thanks again. We'll talk to you next week.